Look, my initial reaction was, what the hell did you do? Trading Donte DiVincenzo. What are you doing bringing Karl-Anthony Towns to New York?
Yeah.
Let's get into all of it. I want to hear you guys' questions before I go on some long triage. The one thing I'm going to say, I'm happy Julius Randle is gone. It's addition by subtraction. Can't shoot further from 20 feet out. Not good defensively. This is Jalen Brunson's team. Julius Randle, thank you for everything you've done in New York. Knicks fans love you. The city loves you, but you aged out. If you learned how to shoot like Brook Lopez, you'd still be in New York. But now go enjoy Minnesota, I guess. I don't think he's done moving around.
No.
This was such a good trade for the Knicks. It's not perfect, but it's something Leon Rose had to do, especially because, bro, they're about to have Jericho Sims. Jericho effing Sims starting at center for the first few months of the season. What you guys got for me, though? Because I don't want to talk for 25 minutes like
Go ahead, Ted. Go ahead, Ted.
Jericho says, let's assume that this cat trade gets done sometime soon.
Please.
My starting lineup that I see is Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
Then you're going to have Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
You're going to have OG. You're going to have Josh Hart.
Yep.
And then you're going to have Cat at the 5. So
I agree.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about seeing Jericho Sims. I understand that Mitchell Robinson and his injury history, and he may not be prepared for game 1 or whatever. But I think that's the lineup that you're going to roll out with. And honestly, if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm excited about that lineup because, Josh Hart at the 4 or whatever. He's one of the best rebounding guards in the entire NBA, and he's physical, and he's gonna play hard for Tibbs. We know there's no question about that.
Yep.
Now, whether he plays 70 games or something like that, that'll be a question when he's battling with Jason Tatum for 4 games a season.
Right.
He's got to fight with him and Jaylen Brown. He might be out, a little bit earlier, but I'm not nervous about that starting 5.
Yeah.
No, I'm not at all. I think there needs to be another ad, though, because Josh Hart at the 4. Look, this is a team. If Mitchell Robinson is still on this roster by the time the season tips, or let's look after the trade deadline, because I don't think they're done adding. You either have Cat at the 4 when you go with the big ball and have Mitchell Robinson at the 5. We'll see when he returns. Or you go small ball and you lay it out. Like the 1 through 4, regardless of that, Jalen Brunson runs the offense, and they have the guys, especially Mikal and OG Anunoby, that can hide Karl-Anthony Towns defensively in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We all know what they're gearing up for, right? Who do you have on Tyrese Maxey? Who do you have on Paul George? They got the 2 guys to do that. Who do you put on Jason Tatum? Who do you put on Jaylen Brown? That's such a tougher defensive matchup. I'm not going to get into it. But Karl-Anthony Towns added spacing. He's a good catch and shoot shooter from 3. What I hated was Donte DiVincenzo was so efficient. And with the Minnesota Timberwolves making this move, this is a salary dump by them. Like, they saw the massive contract. They have to pay Ant-Man, and they know the second apron's coming down. This is a cowardly move by the Timberwolves. At least get 1 ring before you pay the taxes. The Knicks will take it. But to give up Donte DiVincenzo, I wish there was a smell of desperation because DDV is one of the best catch and shoot shooters in the league. If you go 3-point attempts per 100 possessions, he's just behind Steph Curry in attempts and shooting 40% from those. And he's not great on contested shots, but he gets so many open looks because of the offense that he works in. And it would have been the same with Cat on the floor. But you also trade Donte DiVincenzo because he knows he was going to be unhappy with his role, because you bring in Bridges and that eats into his minutes. Deuce McBride now has to step up. And Donte DiVincenzo is such a good defender. That's why I hate he goes. I don't think they are done making moves either. The Knicks have to add another wing. As crazy as it sounds, you make this move to become the second best team in the East. You make this move to have the shooters to keep up with the Celtics, the wings to defend them on the perimeter, and you have that dog and you have that leader in Jalen Brunson. You're giving the keys to the mansion to JB, and I absolutely love that for the Knicks. Him and Julius Randle could not be in the same ecosystem on the floor. And when they made the trade last year to get OG, loved the addition. That should have been Randall going to Toronto, not RJ Barrett. Because, again, RJ Barrett is a shooter. And when this offense got stagnant, you needed a bailout from an RJ Barrett or Julius Randle. Julius Randle wasn't healthy. There is a huge X factor in all this. And this is what the F does Tibbs do with this roster? Because you guys know me. If he runs them into the ground, I don't care. Get him out of New York. But they have everything aligned. This was such a good trade for the Knicks. You can't say it enough. It's tough to see DiVincenzo go away. But, hey, that's going to be a big ad for Anthony Edwards, man. Another good shooter, someone that can help him out. And defensively, when they go small ball in the West, helps him out as well, especially matching up with OKC.
As far as Tibbs goes, I don't think it's a question of if he runs them into the ground. I think he's going to run them into the ground because that's what he does. And, in fact, it's one of the reasons why I just don't believe the Knicks will beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. I mean, I think by the time they see them, because of seeding, we could be looking at an Eastern Conference final. And I just think that team, just like last season, George, will be bubble gum and duct taped together. And they can't get to the finish line healthy. And I think that's what's going to doom them. In fact, here's how bold I am. If you told me, or I can make a bet on the Knicks to be the 1 seed in the East, I wouldn't even bat an eye. I put my money down on that.
Now, with the trade?
Yeah, yes. I would be shocked.
I would bet that. I would bet that.
I wouldn't be shocked.
You don't know what you're going to get from Porzingis, and you don't know what you're going to get from Joel Embiid.
True.
The Knicks can get the 1 TT. I'm not worried about the Knicks getting the 1 seed. Right. I'm worried about, are they going to have healthy bodies? Because that is why they lost to the Indiana Pacers. Mm-hmm. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart were hanging on by a thread, and that's why I hate Tibbs. Sorry to cut you off, T.
No, but that's where I'm going.
I'm not regular season with any of this, man. It's getting a ring in New York.
That's right.
You could be God if you're Tibbs. He has to eat his ego and stop running guys into the ground.
Yeah. So, look, George, I have to ask you this because this trade has been talked about, and you talked about not having a center. Cat will be at the 5, right? I'm assuming. Based off of Tibbs' history, playing small ball, whatever. So Precious Achiuwa would be the 3rd center on this team with Mitchell Robinson still here. There are trade talks for Trey Murphy from the Pelicans coming to New York in lieu of Mitchell Robinson going over there because you and I had talked about how they need a big out in New Orleans really bad. So would Trey Murphy change your mind, and then obviously having Precious being the backup big now change your mind about this Knicks team?
It's gearing up to stop the Celtics, and I would take Trey Murphy over Mitchell Robinson. There's defensive versatility, and that's what you need. It's not conventional basketball. And can Karl-Anthony Towns just be serviceable on defense? Can he be smart? Can he buy in? Can he be smart, period? Like, no late game dumb offensive fouls on the other end of the floor.
Yeah.
Play within the system. No, you're not going to be the guy. The good thing for Karl-Anthony Towns, you don't have to worry about his late game shot taking. Mm-hmm. Jalen Brunson's that dude. It's just he's 6'1". He's an undersized point guard. But if you bring in a Trey Murphy, I said it, and you're right, Tay. I would love that Trey Murphy trade. Mm-hmm. Mitchell Robinson's been injured. Tom Thibodeau doesn't help with that. You bring in Trey Murphy. That is more defensive depth. That's a lot of defensive versatility. That could be a guy in the second unit with Miles McBride. Like, that is huge. You can go 7 deep in the playoffs. If you get something out of Precious, you can be 8 deep, like actually 8 deep. Mm-hmm. I would love that Trey Murphy addition. And I wouldn't sleep on more moves being made at the deadline. There's other centers out there. There are bodies. Just give me bodies. Give me bodies at the 5. Give me one rim protector because that's fine. You don't have a good rim protector right now, but give me something there.
Yeah, I think Cat deserves some credit too, George. And you sort of alluded to this in that, he doesn't have to be the man. But I thought he did a really good job in Minnesota of sort of sharing that spotlight. And now we know it's all on Anthony Edwards. Mm-hmm. But I think he showed he can be a Robin to a Batman. So I think he comes into New York. No one in New York's worried about that. It's Brunson's team. There's no question. And Cat can be a nice complimentary piece. Let me ask you this before we let you go. Give me a realistic sort of finish point for the Knicks. What are your expectations? You said you think the Celtics got them in a 7-game series. So how do you sort of see the Knicks playing out? Are we talking Eastern Conference Finals here?
Yeah, I'll go Eastern Conference Finals. I don't trust Joel Embiid. Now, if Joel Embiid is contained to 55 games in the regular season, then I got to change my mind. But right now, this Knicks team, but like, if I got to talk about Joel Embiid not being healthy, I got to talk about what Tom Thibodeau does to this roster. Yes. I don't know if they're going to be in the playoffs, and I hate that. Let's say, though, let's say they're healthy as can be. Everyone's banged up in the postseason. Knicks take the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals. Celtics will beat the Knicks. I'm not worried about the Pacers. I am worried about the Sixers. I'm not worried about the Magic. I'm not worried about those teams. I'm not worried about the Cavs. It's the Celtics, the 76ers, and the Knicks. Those are the 3 teams in the East. The Knicks and the 76ers are chasing Lucky the Leprechaun. They're chasing that clover, and they're chasing the Celtics. I think they take the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not going to give you a game on it yet. One thing I am worried about, though, I don't know, it can't be ignored, man. I don't know how online Karl-Anthony Towns is, but when he goes from doing post-game interviews like this to saying, "You like this? That's what we're about." My guy's online. What do you think New York's going to do to him? What do you think New York is going to – we're not Midwest nice. I'm from Jersey. I'm not going to claim I'm from New York. We're all cut from the same cloth. We're not Minnesota nice. We're not Midwest nice. We don't put up with no BS. You say some dumb stuff on a podcast. Like, we did more in 4 years than the Warriors. Like, what do you – so that's what I'm worried about, man.
Yeah.
That pressure will be legit. New York, Boston, and Philly are different beasts. If you win there, you are God. You are a God. I'm worried about Cat.